Hey, lick my plate, you dog!
Those things is dangerous. You're liable to get hurt.
Let me ask you one question. Are you having fun? Because I promise you, you and I are going to have some fun.
Oh, no.
Show me what I fear, so I don't fear it no more.
And get that thing off my cutting board.
So you didn't like Terrifier 3?
No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Did you know I was going to go straight into that?
I was wondering why we hadn't mentioned it yet.
Didn't?
I didn't. I really didn't. And I didn't. I watched. We watched 2 again. Yes, that's very nice. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still think art is good. I think he's a new icon or whatever you want to call it. I think it's good. I'm pleased it's doing well because it's a new IP that's it's gained traction and got this getting this
ticking them off. Yep.
Status.
Yep.
That's all very good.
Yep.
I just don't like the film. I didn't like the film. We rewatched the second one as well the night before, and returning to that, they're too long for a start. The first one. It felt very fresh. It felt very tense. It was good. It was decent. I enjoyed it. The second one, the first time I watched it, I did like it, although I definitely felt it was overlong. The third one is a good hour and a half of disjointed kills. They could be shorts. It's like Art's playing Santa in a mall. Art shoots somebody in a bar. You know what I mean? And then right at the end they go, oh crap, yeah, the plot. Let's churn some stuff out. And I understand the angle that it's all about the kills and it's just the fun. That's what it is. It's fun. And it doesn't need to be plot heavy or anything. But the Friday the 13th movies weren't plot heavy.
Far from plot heavy films. Yeah.
But the kills were relevant. Like, the kills drove the plot forward. You've got a bunch of teens in the woods having sexy times and partying, and then Jason picks them off one by one until you get the thing. Terrifier 3, most of the kills in that movie are people that have never met our main characters. They're just there, you know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, right at the end, let's do some plot stuff. And you can just tell that they're dragging it out for or they've already got planned a 6-film arc for this. The way we're getting just drip fed the overarching story and plot. Yeah, just didn't click for me. Didn't click for me at all. I was really quite bored by it, I've got to say.
I 100% understand. And fully, I'm not going to criticize your opinion whatsoever. 100% understand where you're coming from. And I can see where you're coming from. At the same time, I have a difference of opinion. But it's, again, not to say you're wrong or I'm right.
No.
I completely agree with you with the case of art. It is so refreshing to finally have... This must be what it felt like in the 80s to people, to have these horror icons grow in front of their eyes. Because let's be honest, we haven't really had one... I mean, you could class Billy as probably the last one, Billy the Puppet. Even though it's not really... It's just a puppet, it's not the killer.
Exactly, no, but that's the same.
No one really classes Jigsaw as a killer, as the icon.
Although, funnily enough, I saw a tweet about this the other day, and everybody was talking about how iconic Jigsaw was, as in Tobin Bell, not
at
Billy
all.
the Puppet. I disagree completely. Yeah,
Not
I
at
don't
all.
think he is.
Is Jigsaw in Fortnite doing his stupid dances? No, Billy is. I don't play Fortnite. I've seen it on the interwebs.
I mean, who isn't? I mean, I'm in Fortnite next week. Who isn't in Fortnite?
That's true. You probably are.
Pops.
But yeah, I mean, it's safe to say Billy was probably the last iconic.
I think so.
And even before that, maybe Ghostface.
It probably is.
Maybe. I mean, just literally off the top of my head right now, I mean, you had the odd serial killer, you had the Collector, you had Victor Crowley from Hatchet, but these were never main.
Didn't take off. Didn't take off in the same way you could say the Creeper from the Jeepers Creepers
exactly,
franchise, but didn't take off in the same way.
No. And art took off more so in the horror community and then to a wider audience. Obviously, we're getting Terrifier 2 with somewhat of a theatrical release, and now Terrifier 3 with a full-on theatrical release. Yeah, this film. I think we have a brief little chat now, but maybe in the future we can come back to it and do a full-on review. Again, maybe in the future if you ever want to watch it again. But
No.
or maybe we do a little 20-minute extra just to run through some like the kills and whatnot. But we have to cover it. It's part of our discussion here. Professional talker contract. You signed the contract, okay, with your own blood.
I didn't have to use blood.
It was metal. It was more metal to use the blood.
Insisted.
Yeah. Where was I going? It is long. It is long film. It's not as long as 2, thankfully. They did cut down, but apparently Damien Leone even cut out 30 minutes. So it would have been as long as 2.
What?
So Terrifier 3 is just over 2 hours, I believe.
2 hours 5, I think it is. Yeah.
The Substance was 2 hours 20. But
The thing.
you've got to have the meat on the bone to.
That's the thing. If a film I don't care. You know, I can sit through the extended Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If a film grabs me, it grabs me. I don't care whether
Completely.
it's 20 minutes or 2 hours. If it's not grabbing me, 2 hours feels like an eternity.
Yes. Yeah.
And that was feeling like an eternity. I very nearly fell asleep. I did. There was a point when I was just like quite warm and cozy in this this cinema.
See,
I just closed my eyes.
I really loved the film. I come at it from a different perspective. I do agree with you though. The plot is very, very thin, and that kind of annoyed me because I'm really interested in the plot and I wanted more.
Well, that's one of my criticisms. Yeah, that's what that's what I mean, because you know that we're going to end up with another Art and I forget her name.
Sienna.
Yeah, Sienna showdown.
Yeah.
You know, and we've got them, her and her brother, dealing with the aftermath of the second film and all that.
Spoilers, by the way, just in case, folks.
And you're waiting for them to come together again.
Yes,
but it just takes so long to get there. It
does.
It's just such a long time to do it. And I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm desensitized to gore and stuff like that. But the mindless killing without it furthering the plot or having any sort of impact on our main plot, main story, main cast or anything. It's just like get to the point.
Yeah. I agree, and I think that was one of my main issues with it, that we had aspects, plot points from the second film that actually they didn't come back to in this film. For instance, the Pale Girl wasn't to be seen in this film.
Well, I have a theory about that. I think.
All right, well,
I'll save it.
Save it. We'll do a little talk on it at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can kind of see where they're going, but yeah, I feel, and my partner said this. She felt like they know that they're going to make 7 films or whatever, and
they're making money. This has made 20 million domestically.
But it just means we're just getting drip fed these little bits and pieces, which it's just frustrating. Like I'd happily sit through an hour and a half of Art killing people if it was all Sienna's friends. If the plot of the movie was they were on a road trip, was on a college trip or whatever, friends, out with a load of mates, and they were all getting bumped off in the same way that the counsellors in a Friday movie are. But it was like it's happening the other side of town. Nobody knows. It's just irrelevant.
It was two stories happening at the same time that then only linked at the end. Really.
I mean, I did kind of enjoy the final act when we got a little, the little dribble of gravy that we got and the little bit of exposition and explanation. It was, I think it takes a bit of a sharp left turn, but and what we've kind of said for a lot of these Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, throughout the most part, Art goes in a similar vein as Leatherface, where he kind of takes a back seat to Vicky, who again we'll discuss in a later episode about Terrifier 3.
kind of takes a back seat in the final act for a little part of it. The gore is over the top, just insane, much like number 2. I have only 2 more points because we must get on. We must move on. What were my 2 points? I really cannot though give enough credit to David Howard Thornton as Art. I love his performance as Art, and one of my favourite parts of the whole film is the bar scene where he gets his Santa outfit. Because all it made me think was, this is Mr. Bean. This is the mannerisms and everything is like such Mr. Bean.
It was, and it does inject. And I loved it. It's good. Let's say I like the character. I can't fault the character.
No,
at all.
Yeah,
and
the character
performance is great. He's got no dialogue. Everything's just expression and mime and mimicry. And yeah, he is great. He's a great character. My issue is I think it's the length of the films. Like, just trim out the fat. Make your gory bits more relevant to the plot, and just get on with it.
No, I think you're completely right there. I think you're completely fair to say that. Old man Aidan, he ain't what he used to be. Ain't what he used to
die on this hill. I don't care.
No, you're fine. You're good. We'll come back to that at some point. I was lucky enough to go to what I think I told you it was called a Scream.
Yeah, sneaky early screening.
Scream, something like that. It was from the Odeon Corporation. It was the film released on the 11th, and I got to see this on the 9th. And it's basically you pay £6 a ticket, and you don't know what you're going to see. You got told it's an 18, and the friend I was with, we went and got Tim Hortons before. Love a bit of Tim Hortons. She found out that, oh shit, Smile 2's out as well, and that's coming out soon, and that's an 18. I'm like, no, my whole evening could be, because I wasn't a big fan of Smile 1 really.
I have no interest in it at all.
I'm gonna see Smile 2.
For it again.
Gonna see it. It's getting praise, and I want to see it just because it's a big film of this year, and I'll eventually see it this year. And I was like, is it gonna happen? Then they showed the trailer for Smile 2 in the screen, and we're like, would they? No, they would. Why would they? Why would they show the film straight after the trailer? And then the title came up, 18, Terrifier 3. All giddy. And then throughout my whole screening, 6 people on their phones.
Oh, really?
In my row.
Oh.
And 2 of them left halfway and left a whole box of popcorn. Why
really?
are you there? Why are you there? Because they were on their phones for the most part. They didn't look interested one bit. Why go?
I don't know. I mean, I was quite amused by the little disclaimer that they had on the front desk in our cinema about.
Oh, they had one.
It's an 18. This film is an 18. It contains scenes of gore and all of this sort of stuff. And it's like, yeah, but it's an 18. Like,
which leads on to my argument from the other day about the premiere. The UK premiere with people walking out with, like, for instance, your
you should know
the warning that you got,
the third film in the franchise and stuff. Yeah,
I'm baffled by that. People walking out. Why? Like, what's another incredibly gory horror franchise where there's, like, down the line? You could say
the Hostel movies were known for their over the top.
Good. That's Saw. Say, Saw 4's just come out in the cinema. Should we go see it? I've not seen the other 3, but
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my god, this is disgusting. Look, yeah.
It's called Saw.
And it's the 4th entry.
And just in fact, just out of interest, what is the movie poster for Saw 4?
I'm sure it's delightful.
Oh, it had a head in a bucket.
Oh yeah. Yeah, darling, let's go see that.
Head on the weighing scales.
No one told me this was going to be violent.
They're usually like, severed limbs and stuff, aren't they? So.
How false advertising. I wasn't expecting violence and gore. The final point on that matter. Brains. Oh, I need my coffee. I got my coffee here. I'm just gonna have a little.
I mean, stop.
that was it.
Stop
So-
the hyperbole.
Final point. On your point of very thin narrative, but just filled with gore. That argument has been put around the world of the internet. Like people just thinking, oh, it's just a gore fest, It is, and the plot is there, but it's so thin. There is plot. Okay, there is plot, and it is the third film in a franchise. So
Yeah.
if you go into the third film without knowing the first two, you're going to be lost. Even though the plot is so thin, you are going to be a bit lost. Like, who is
You
Sienna?
are.
What's art? Why is
Yeah.
art and Sienna linked somehow? But Saw has 27 films, and it did the plot. That's one of my favorite parts of the whole franchise, the Saw franchise. The twist in narratives, the twist here, the character, like all the plot aspects of the Saw franchise were done very well, for the most part. Especially in the early films. Those films did become, okay, what trap's next? Okay, what trap is next? Then 10 minutes later, we've got another trap. Back to the plot, back to the trap. And this is kind of falls in the same vein. Okay, how's Art going to kill these people? Back to Sienna having a breakdown. How's Art going to kill these people? And so on. So yeah, there's our little mini. But yeah, I did pick up I saw this magazine, SFX special edition of SFX magazine.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah.
I'm very intrigued to have a look at that. But you get some nice little fun art things, little poster, some stickers for the work toolbox.
Stickers are always good.
And actually,
Nearly 40 years old. Still love a sticker.
I love a sticker. Quite a nice poster, to be fair.
It is a good poster. Like I say, I love the character. I do love the character.
Do you love the character though?
Come on. Torture this segue.
Do you love the character as much as you love the third iteration of our friend, your friend, everyone's friend, Leatherface? Conveniently,
No.
the title of today's film, Leatherface, not to be confused with the first film we did this month, Leatherface.
Leatherface.
This one's called Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 3. Not part 3, 3.
Three.
Welcome, everyone, to the Dreadcast. My name is Tom. This is Aidan.
Hello.
And it is 50 years of the lovely Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Well, the first film. I actually got the birthday wrong, so that's on point for us. That's on point. Why would we...
Ballpark, general area.
It's October.
It's fine.
It's October. Same month as Black Christmas. Black Christmas came out the exact same year and same month. We get an abundance of horror films these days, but back then, 74, to be given that and Black Christmas on the same week, I believe. Oh, it's a good week. Yes, so 50 years, and we have already ticked off the 2017 prequel to the original. It is not good. It is not a good film.
It is not.
I mean, the point of this month was technically we only do 4 episodes a month, two good episodes. We were going to look for 2 good films.
We only do 2 good episodes.
Oh, well,
Four
we'll
episodes,
see.
but you only get 2 good ones.
We'll see how that goes. We were looking for 2 good films in the franchise and 2 not so good. And that kind of didn't work out in the case of this film, in my opinion. I think we talked about it in the last episode. Last episode being the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. So you can go check them out here for the remake. And let that card pass. Here for Leatherface 2017. So, when did you watch this film? Last night?
Last night. Yes, last night. Yeah. I mean, well, it was a rewatch. I've seen it before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a refresh watching it last night.
And did you do, by chance, your homework?
In what regard?
Did you watch the trailer for this film that came out?
Oh, no, I totally forgot about that.
All right, we'll be back in a sec, folks. How amazing is that trailer?
We've got whatchamacallit? Excalibur. He-Man.
I love the
Yeah,
fact
I think
he's
I
just
think
wistfully
I've seen
looking
that
out
before.
into the lake.
We've got the Hallmark card movie music going on.
It's it really is something special.
It is.
It's just, oh my god, the close up,
just-
the close up at the end of his big Jabba the Hutt looking
Yeah.
face.
It's just, I feel. Oh, there was another trailer for. I feel like there's a bit of a trend with old trailers and horror movies for this sort of kind of tongue-in-cheek stuff. There was a trailer I remember for Bride of Chucky
Yeah.
that had various horror character heights on a door, like when you mark the children's
Oh, yeah,
heights
yeah,
on
yeah.
a door frame, and it was like Jason 7 foot or 6'9" or whatever. Michael Myers was 5'10", and then it went right the way down to the bottom, and it was like 4 foot Chucky, and then a hand comes through his arm comes through the door in a Shining-esque manner with a knife, and it was like, oh yeah. But I mean, I don't know, it's a funny stylistic choice for a horror film. I mean, I guess we are like the third film in the franchise, but it's a funny stylistic choice for a trailer to go down this. Like,
I don't know what they were thinking, honestly.
I mean, it is funny, but is it supposed to be funny? I don't know what it is. It's weird, isn't it?
The film itself isn't
It's
funny.
not a horror film. It's a lot more like an action movie, if anything. We've got a lot of
it is,
guns
you're
going
right.
off and car chases and explosions and stuff. It's
real
it's very-
explosions, big explosions. Yeah, some big pyro.
It's very much more like just an action movie. It's weird.
And then once again, our boy is taking a back seat.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean,
Takes
it basically he pops up to do his chase through the woods. Starting to see a lot more, specific Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie specific tropes, and a nighttime run through the woods is
it's
common
in this,
one.
yeah.
Um,
We're in the woods for a lot of this film.
and he pops up, and I think every time he appears on screen, it's that sort of like stealth chainsaw, like pop up, rev it, run around a bit. Yeah, he's not really in it otherwise.
No, but it's titled Leatherface.
It's it's his movie.
It's his movie, but yeah, this film's kind of begins the trend of that throughout the other Texas Chainsaw films, especially with 4, where it's Matthew McConaughey's film and Leatherface is barely in it. We talked about the remake, although the remake of The Family is a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Leatherface, the film, very little Leatherface in the film.
Yeah. Well, I mean, arguably none.
Arguably
really.
none. Arguably none. This film, though, I mean, the timeline is so screwed up with these films.
Yeah,
like we said,
there's a lot of just weirdness in this, because right from the get-go, we get a background to the beginning, the background and the original, what had happened to Sally, and we're told that she passes away in a asylum.
yeah, I've got the crawl here, what it says word for word, because a lot of people don't. A lot of people, I said, they're so screwed up. A lot of people think it's 1 and 2. They follow each other because we've got the cook, and then some people think it goes 1 to 3 and then 1 to 4. Right, and you keep skipping each film, but no, this one does follow in some sense. So it's on August 18th. Sally Hardesty, her invalid brother Franklin.
No need.
Break it to him gently. And their friends fell afoul of a bizarre cannibalistic clan of serial predators. Miss Hardesty was the sole survivor of that night of terror. She died in a private healthcare facility in 1977. Single member of the murderous family, quote unquote, lived to see trial. The prosecution recorded his name as W.E. Sawyer. He died in the gas chamber in 1981. Now, I believe W.E. is the cook.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it?
The
Because
problem with-
the hitcher gets run over.
Yeah. The problem with that is that in part 2, he blows himself up with a grenade.
Yeah.
So then canonically this is straight after part 1. Part 2 doesn't
So
exist in this
skipping
world.
to,
Yeah. The jurors concluded that Leatherface, presumed to be an unapprehended killer, was in fact an alternate personality of Sawyer's, activated when he donned a crude mask of human flesh. So that's stating, if it says, the jurors concluded that Leatherface, presumed to be an unapprehended killer, was in fact an alternate personality of Sawyer's.
Yeah.
That's referencing the Sawyer we just talked about, right?
Yeah. That's just the theory that they had. Yeah.
If there was no Leatherface in reality, then Sally Hardesty may at last rest in peace. If there actually was a Leatherface, he remains at large, and the so-called Texas Chainsaw Massacre was only the beginning. So it's like he's found another family.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, yeah, it's another family.
But they treat him like he's
the same
their
family.
own.
Yeah. It makes no sense at all. It's another branch of the Sawyer family that he's like, oh, you know, the cook got done in, the hitcher got run over. Like, I'll go and move in with the other cousins, the East Texas cousins, or wherever it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Who have a considerably bigger family. There's like 3 brothers and
a hell of a setup.
And a younger sister and there's loads of them.
Big old sprawling house with spotlights on the outside.
Yeah.
And we talk about Terrifier having very little plot. There is next to no plot with this film.
No.
There is less plot than with this film than there is in the first. And normally with a lot of these episodes we'll try and sprinkle in the plot and go through the plot and the story throughout the film, but no, it's a young girl driving her dad's car across the country with her partner, which I think they're on like a sort of breakup. I think she's trying to get away from him. They stop off at a gas station. I know. Colour me shocked. It's run by a lunatic. A man turns up, a hunky man who we think is the savior, turns out to be part of the lunatic family. Young couple on the road get attacked, get told to go down that road. Don't go down that road. They go down that road. They get attacked by Leatherface and the family, and we're back to a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, basically.
Yeah.
And Ken Foray's there.
Yeah.
Ken Foray's there. There we go.
Yeah.
He's just there. He's just there.
For some reason. Oh, it turns up and survives. Saves the day.
We'll get to people surviving at the end, because that's
Which
ridiculous.
version did you watch, by the way?
The one that's on my
my
external hard drive.
It's the uncut version of this that I watched.
I don't think I've got the
cut.
Yeah, I don't think this is director's cut.
No,
because there was a lot cut from this film.
I don't know what got added and what got cut, to be quite honest. But just out of interest. It's bizarre. There's a lot. I mean, for a start, that car that she's driving across the country is rubbish. It never starts.
No, it never does.
Terrible.
Never does.
You would be like. I mean, because she says at one point they're driving from, is it like LA to Florida or something like that?
Yep.
She specifically says, you'd just be like, Dad, just buy another car. This is terrible.
You're going to run it into the ground driving that distance.
I mean, exactly. It barely functions as is. I mean, it's fair enough in a horror movie to sprinkle in at least one, oh no, the car won't start. But it's literally every time she tries to turn it on, it just isn't having a bar of it. It's like...
Doesn't want it. Doesn't want it.
Give up. There's also like really no reason for them to take the Cowboys Road, as is suggested.
As Aragon suggests.
As Aragon, we are going to just refer to him as Aragon throughout the duration of this, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we have that. Like, so the gas station owner is a creep, a weirdo.
He's one of my favourite characters in the whole film. Alfredo. Alfredo. I mean, you his performance, you instantly think, okay, this guy's part of whatever family we're about to see.
Oh, yeah.
So there's not really much of a surprise there. The twist comes with Aragon's character. He is Aragon, okay? We knew about Aragon before we watched this film. I know I did. He's Viggo Mortensen, but he is Aragon, okay? Or Tex in this film.
Tex.
Why is it? Why are they always called Tex?
Because
Why is everyone called Tex in Texas?
Texas, I don't know.
But he's
All of them. Every single one of them is called Tex.
yeah. So Alfredo, we know is unhinged. We know he's part of it. But Tex is the one you're meant to believe. Okay, he's going to help. He's going to save us. Oh, he doesn't. But I love Alfredo. He's great. Talk like this.
Yeah. Boomhauer.
Yeah.
Does not speak. Well, does speak in full sentences, but he could do with subtitles. It's very, it's sort of inner monologue, become external train of thought, jabbering.
Jib jab.
But yeah, he, long story short, ends up pulling a gun on our cross-country riding couple, and
Because they're too good for him.
yeah, he's been peeping. He was peeping at at the girl.
He was.
And sort of he thinks that's totally justified, and then pulls the gun. And as they escape, and they're driving like a fair way down the road, and in the panic to get away, the what's the chap called? Scott, is it? No, not Scott.
Who are we talking about?
Ryan. Right, it's the
the boyfriend. Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah. He says, "Oh, quick, take the cowboy road." So Tex had previously sort of said, like, "Oh, this is a quicker way to get to where you're going." And there's absolutely no reason. The guy with the gun is on foot, and they're already a good mile down the road at this point. But they panic, in a panic, turn down this alternate route, which is going to take them directly to the Sawyers. Are they the Sawyers in this? Do we get a name?
I don't actually know.
I don't know that we do, but let's just call them the Sawyers.
Let's call them the Sawyers, and let's not ask questions, Aidan, on answers we don't know, and just assume and make things up here. Okay.
Yes. And yeah, that's how. So it's even more of a sort of convoluted reason for them to get caught up in all this than it is in any other movie. We also get that moment with the body pit that the authorities have found this.
Yeah, that doesn't really go anywhere.
It doesn't do anything. Doesn't go anywhere. It's. I suppose it's supposed to be a revelation that there's some people up to no good in the area. This mass grave has been found. And I think it mentions that it's like another one as well. It's like
they've found multiple.
Yeah. So yeah, the Sawyers have been quite prolific and buried bodies all over the place. Considerable distance away from where they live as well.
Yeah, especially as well if we're counting this as a true sequel to the original. So. And if we've got a different family, that means we've got multiple estates doing the business as well.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
It's like a literal family business, like franchised out. Because we've got no idea where we are in Texas in relation to the original house, the original family. But I just feel like there's distance involved. I feel like we're a good distance away, and it's a completely different part of the state.
And are we led to really believe that the way that, because this is there's heavily implied they're a cannibalistic family. So like later on, they've got the equipment, they've got like the proper abattoir equipment to hang up their victims and cut them up. Yeah. They've got everything they need. So without even eating human flesh, it's heavily implied and easily to believe. The way they go about getting their victims is literally convincing them to go down another road.
Yeah.
How stupid are all these people? They deserve it. It's Tex. He's too charming.
Well,
he's too charming.
He is, because the conversation is, I can't remember it verbatim, but basically, Tex says, "Oh, which way are you going to go?" And Ryan's like, "Oh, we're just going to take the highway." And he says, "Oh no, you don't need to take the highway. If you take this back road." Yeah. It's quicker, and you need to be careful driving on these back roads when you don't really know them. But he's not going to be driving on the back roads. He's driving on the main highway, and he's quite happy to do so.
Yeah.
So it's a really why would you change?
Argument.
Yeah. you'd just be like, all right, random stranger that's essentially just trying to cadge a lift.
Yeah.
As well. That's his other little ruse
Yeah,
as well,
'cause
isn't it? It's like, give me a ride home or whatever.
His introduction, Tex is dropped off by someone at this gas station that is clearly owned or run by the family as well, but you don't know that at the point. So he's come from somewhere, maybe as maybe trying to get back to the house. And it just so happens to be that 2 victims have driven up and he can lure them back as well for the family.
If that's what he's doing, is he following them and going, oh, well, they're going that way, so maybe they're going to stop at the last chance?
Maybe.
The Last Chance gas station being the name of the business.
For a very British perspective, that would be like driving down, I wouldn't say a motorway, but an A road. A strong A road in England. And you stop off at a Little Chef, because that's where all the inbreds go. I'm not talking like a Shell or BP. No, I'm talking a Little Chef or a Road Chef. You know. And Tex. Sorry, it wouldn't be Tex. It'd be like old
Gaz.
Gaz. No, it'd be Keith. It'll be a Keith. Gaz and basically saying go down that B road down there.
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
That's quicker this way.
Yeah,
why would I? No, we'll do it. It's fine. We'll go down there. Yeah. Yeah, it makes 0 sense.
Yeah.
But they do it.
I mean, not to mention that it's just like fortuitous that there's people there and the family are going to eat, because like how often do people go down there and actually stop and
we're in the middle of absolute nowhere.
Fall for the
absolute.
I suppose that's kind of the premise and the ruse, is that like this is your last chance. You know, there isn't another gas station for X distance, so you're gonna get people stopping. But is Tex always there? Does he always just get dropped off randomly, and that's like his work day, and he sits around waiting for like some hapless couple to come along the road? So
he's got this car around the corner. It's like, oh, there's a car coming. Right, drop me off. Right, go.
Because it must be like days that days and days before people turn up there, and like I suppose if they don't instantly go for go on, we'll take that B road, then they have to engineer the spying and the gun situation to then hopefully force them in a panic to take it. It's such a like.
How do they get them otherwise? Basically, how do they get their feed?
It's asking a lot, isn't it? There's a lot of like assumptions and ifs and buts with this plan.
You move on to the way that they get captured. Then our young couple. So it turns to night very quickly, and I'm very happy with this film that when it's dark, it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this many times before. When it's dark, sometimes you can see every little leaf on the tree. No, it's dark in this film. For the most part, but in the woods, it's pretty dark. They get into a little fender bender with Ken Foree, who's just driving around. He's kind of like a survivalist character, really, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a bit of a maybe a hunter. They're out in the wilderness, survivalist hunter, and
it feels more like survivalist. Yeah, like he's a prepper or something like that. He's practicing his surviving.
How do they get into the fender? But do they turn the lights on and see Leatherface in the middle of the road, and then both cars swerve off, or do they just? I couldn't remember.
I mean, before that, they get chased by the truck that throws the coyote on them. Yeah, throws the coyote at them that they then think that they've run into, and then while Ryan's changing the wheel, Leatherface just pops up, and they have a bit of a run around the forest.
Yeah, that's it.
And then they manage to get back in the car and start it, and that's when they drive off. And
that's when they have the fender bender with Ken Foree. Yeah. And then to continue on with that, we get introduction to another member of the family with a hook hand.
Yeah.
The thing with all these family members is you kind of don't, over the time, you don't have any care, you don't have any interest for them. Because the characters aren't built up at all, really.
They're not. I mean, even Tex isn't really. I think he's got a bit of extra pull because it's Aragorn. Like,
if you watch it now, if you watched it then, I'm not sure how big Vigo was.
watching it then, it had been, it's like, well, all right, there's this guy, but he doesn't have much to do. He kind of plays. He's got a similar sort of vibe to Matthew McConaughey in 4. Not quite as.
It's almost like that's
deranged.
expanded on Vigo's character.
Yeah. Like they could be the same character, kind of one version between the two films. I'm just looking back, actually, just out of interest, to see what else Vigo had done when.
Well, that's the
this
thing,
came
because, like I said, Lord of the Rings to me would have been the first film I'd seen him in. At the time Lord of the Rings came
saw
out.
him in as well.
Obviously, was 1 when this film came out, so I didn't see this when I was 1.
No, he'd mostly done TV at this point, I think, but he did Young Guns 2 after this.
Okay.
Carlito, he's in Carlito's Way. That's probably his next sort of big movie, but it's not a big part. He is in a movie though called Passion of Darkly Noon. Have you ever seen that?
No, I have not.
It's absolute bonkers. He plays a deaf woodworker that lives in the woods with his wife, and what's he called?
Passion of Darkly Noon.
Brendan Fraser turns up, having escaped from a religious cult that have killed his parents. They take him in, and he develops an obsession with Vigo's wife, and then at the end goes nuts, wrapped in barbed wire with a giant chisel.
This looks wild.
It's amazing, honestly. I've only ever seen it once. I caught it randomly on late night TV years and years ago.
What am I looking at here?
I've never seen it since, and nobody's ever heard of it. Whenever I tell people about it, it's a complete revelation to them. But yeah, if you ever get the opportunity to watch The Passion of Darkly Noon, do it, because it's bonkers.
What am I? This is wild. I mean, just the poster alone looks crazy.
So that's the end there. Brendan Fraser, he's covered in blood, his chest wrapped in barbed wire, and he's got a
Holy shit.
huge like chisel, massive 2-handed chisel.
Okay, cool. There you go, folks. There's a recommendation for you. Go watch this and not Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. You don't need to see this film. Okay, cool.
Anyway,
nice one. Anyway, back to today's film.
I don't think Vigo was a huge name back when this came out either. So
yeah.
Like I say, it is similar sort of vibes to Matthew McConaughey's character in 4, but not quite as full on. And then we've got the hook hand, then we've got the little girl.
Yeah, the little girl,
there's a mother figure and grandpa.
Yeah, we've
Grandpa's in
still
this
got
as well.
grandpa.
So how has grandpa got from the original house to here? Because it's definitely like same grandpa.
It's
with
basically
a
zombified
desiccated corpse in a
yeah.
wheelchair. Yeah.
But yeah, see, that's where you're really lost with the whole continuity and timeline, because that grandpa is clearly just in this film because it's an iconic looking character. It's just for oh look, there's grandpa. But then when you really think about it, why and how is he there?
It
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. It suggests that post the events of the first movie, Leatherface has just been wheeling grandpa down some backwood Texas roads, just him with his chainsaw, and how has that happened? I don't know.
The one continuity, and I don't know if this is on purpose, that I noticed, and I don't know if I was just piecing this together in my head because I wanted it to be a continuity, was Leatherface's knee brace. Because in the end of the first film, where Sally throws the wrench at his head, he falls down and he cuts open his leg. So that, I don't know if that's on purpose, but I like it if it is, because that is true continuity.
Yeah, I've not considered that, because that's another little as if Leatherface needs another like quirk, identifying feature. But yeah, no, you're right. He has got a leg brace. I wonder if that is. I hope that's true. I hope that's what it is, a deliberate thing, because that is a nice little nod.
The problem is that then gets expanded on again in part 4 with Vilma's leg braces that he can control with TV remotes.
So after this one, they went, I really like the leg brace.
So it worked.
Let's have some more leg brace.
How can we expand the leg
How
brace
can
lore?
we expand on leg brace? We'll give it a remote control.
Apparently here it's saying Grandpa is already deceased and decomposed. I mean, in this film.
Disagree.
Because does he not move?
I don't think he moved. Oh, I don't know. Maybe he does actually.
Well, he does in the first one, and he looks deceased and
Yeah,
decomposed in the first one, but he does move in the first one.
I'm just my main reason for thinking that he's alive is that the little girl, and that is her name. She is credited as a little girl.
She is indeed.
She says specifically about feeding Grandpa. How are we going to feed Grandpa?
Yeah.
Now, okay, they're an unhinged family of maniac cannibals. They could well be attempting to feed a corpse, but I feel like he is supposed to be alive, as unbelievable as it is, but in the same way as he is alive, ridiculously in the first one. However, he does meet his demise quite spectacularly, but also in the background. So
Yes. Yeah.
And then like nobody bats an eyelid. It's not referenced. It's not like a front and center thing. It's just his face just explodes.
Yeah, it does. It does. Do you know, there's honestly not that many deaths in this film.
No, there isn't. And the ones that are, one of the big sort of setup kills is Ryan's demise with being hung up in the homemade hammer kill cupboard, closet, whatever you want to call it.
That's the one.
Yeah,
That's
but
the
he's,
one.
he's essentially hung upside down, and there's a sledgehammer rigged up to sort of swing at the pull of a string.
It's almost comical. It's almost like
It's very kind of
someone's
James
going to
Bond,
enter the
isn't
room.
it?
Boing,
Yeah.
boing, hits
Bit
them in the
Home
head,
Alone.
knocks them out. Yeah, a bit of Home Alone. Yeah,
But at the point of impact, it cuts away. We don't see it,
yeah.
and I that would have been ripe for a, head, Greg Nicotero, head puppet.
It would, but I guess it follows in the same footsteps as our original Texas Chainsaw, where we don't see.
Yeah,
It's implied, I mean, there is a head bonking in the first film, but it's not as clear as day. Just fidgets around on the floor. But yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, around this time, 74 to 1990, I think they would have gone a bit more excessive with the violence and gore.
Yeah.
But again, a lot of this got cut, and I think even more so in you watched the director's cut or the uncut version. I think even that is a cut down version of what they originally intended.
Yeah, there are deleted scenes as well on that.
Yeah.
DVD.
Before we get to say we've talked about the family before we even, when we're watching the film, meet most of the family in the house. Benny, who Ken Foray plays, he meets like so many people in the space of 10 minutes. Or so.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
So he encounters obviously Ryan and Michelle. Then Tinker, gentleman with the claw. Then Sarah, who we basically see at the beginning. She's a victim. Her Leatherface, the whole Sawyer family have killed her family, and she's kind of on the lam. She's kind of losing her mind on the lam. So all of this happens, and you're kind of in the mind of Benny going, I was just driving along. I was just having a nice trip, and now I've encountered these young kids that were troubled. I've now encountered this crazy family. What the hell is going on?
He does meet like another survivalist as well at some point. There's like another little guy in camo gear running around. Yeah.
Does he really?
Yeah, there's like I guess it's maybe one of his sort of like little group.
Are you really? I did not see this.
Yeah, he talks to another chap.
Does he now?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
And I
that one
can't.
bit.
I don't think they're given a name. I'm not sure who it is.
So we got afterwards. Michelle, Ryan, and another driver survivors named Benny crash when a bloody Tex leaps in front of the car. That's what causes the collision. It's Tex. So somehow Tex got there first. Yeah.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
He had his own car, doesn't he?
It doesn't matter. It's fine. So Leatherface catches up to all of them and kills Sarah. So basically finishes off her family and her, and they capture Ryan and Michelle. And that's when we head back to the house where we get
the I guess it's the equivalent of the dinner table scene, and
it's very prolonged though.
Yeah, she's nailed to a chair, and we get the mother coming in her wheelchair, and they talk about talking about feeding
nailing her to the
etc.
chair though was that's actually pretty gruesome.
Mm-hmm.
That is pretty gruesome. And you don't see it for the most part. You see a bit of it, but it's a lot more gruesome than say just tying her up on the chair.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, the mother part of the family in the wheelchair with her voice box or voice tinker thing on her throat. I feel like
because you need something to make them stand out a little bit.
Exactly.
We'll give her a voice box.
Yeah, we've already given Leatherface the knee brace, so let's move on. Well, I mean, yeah, the original had the hitchhiker who was crazy, had this big scar. He was just out of his fucking mind. The cook, I mean, they're all out of their mind, but they all kind of had their little own characteristics. Chop Top.
They did, but there weren't as many of them.
No, thankfully, and I prefer that.
Yeah,
I much prefer that. I think we've talked about that. Like, they're more memorable because there's less of them.
Yeah.
This is similar to all the others, even Remake and Part 4 and Leatherface, the prequel. I remember Hoyt more than any other family members, really.
He's trying to find something for them all to do. That's the problem that it faces, is that you end up with, what are they doing? You've got Alfredo sort of bookending the film, I guess. He pops up again and he pops up again at the end.
He pops up in the middle a little bit, where he's just out in the woods having a leisurely stroll, really.
But I mean,
complication with Benny.
Doesn't do
but
maybe it's him then that I'm thinking of. Benny meeting the other person. Maybe it was him.
Maybe because Alfredo he's walking around the woods with like a bandana on.
Yeah,
complication.
That's who I was thinking.
And then that's where Benny ends up having a fight in the water with Leatherface. That's later
with
on.
all the plastic skulls floating around.
Yeah, that's actually later on. Once he's
Yeah.
helped Michelle escape the family, and they're in the woods. Yeah, and
she gets caught in a trap.
And Leatherface's chainsaw is in the water, just doing its thing.
Yeah,
just spinning around.
Let's talk about that chainsaw as well.
Oh, his brand new one.
His brand new graduation present.
I've been thinking about that since I watched this film, and how many other horror icons got such an upgrade with their iconic weapon? And the only one I could think of was Jason in Jason X, where he gets his baller new futuristic machete.
Yeah.
I don't think Freddy ever got somewhat of a souped up claw.
No, I don't think so.
But this new chainsaw.
No. In fact, I'm thinking Jason getting his machete in Part 6, specifically.
Part 6. Once he's resurrected,
he gets it off the paintball guy when he swings him into the tree.
Yes, he does.
That's how he gets his machete. But no, you're right. I don't think generally they do.
This is a beautiful piece of machinery.
I mean, it is, but it's just so like out of character. And
yeah, it is. It should be dirty and rusty and disgusting.
Yeah, and instead it's this incredibly like shiny gold trimmed, like
it's like chrome.
Pimp My
Yeah, I was
Saw.
thinking that.
It's all chromed. It's got the Saw's family in Gothic script engraved on the blade.
Yo, dog, we heard you like 30-inch monitors on and PlayStation
all-
2s, so
all
we
it's
attached a
missing.
PlayStation 2 to your chainsaw
That's all it's missing is a PlayStation and a popcorn maker.
and a hydraulic on it.
I mean, well, they've managed to get it to work underwater, so it is a fancy mod. Yeah, it's got all these little extra metal bits of flair and stuff. It's incredibly silly and opens up a whole barrel of questions about like where did they get that from? That's not an off the
Ridiculous.
shelf number, is it? Like
That's custom.
exactly.
That's from West
So
Coast Customs, mate. That's
they've not gone into like I don't know, Sears. Is that an American
yeah.
hardware B&Q type of place?
No, Home Depot.
Home Depot. Yeah. That's it. It's not an off the shelf in Home Depot, is it?
Pimp My Chainsaw. This is a
So-
straight up exhibit. Pimp My Chainsaw. It's beautiful, and yeah, the fact it's got it's not even laser cut. That is like plasma cut or machined, like CNC machined in. The
Yeah.
Saw is family. I'm glad we came back to that quote though in the films because it's first referenced, I believe, in the second film. I don't think it's referenced in the first film.
No.
But I like
it's
that
the
catchphrase. I like that tagline.
I like it enough as a tagline. I don't like it as an actual piece of dialogue or
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
like the family motto.
yeah, it just feels a bit like forced, silly. I don't know. There's just something about like you're a family of cannibals who, by and large, don't actually use a chainsaw to kill people that much. Like
No,
it probably
not at
comes
all.
into play when you're butchering, but
It's messy though, isn't it?
yeah, it's messy and loud and well, apart from when it's not, when you've got the stealth mode switched on. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's just the saw is. I don't know. It's just a bit cringe. It's just it's just a bit daft.
Because of also what it implies. Like the Saw is family. Okay, so it's a major part of our family aesthetic, and our family aesthetic goes back generations. We've always ate people. We always loved the taste of human flesh.
Yeah,
But-
or at least we've all worked in slaughterhouses and had to convert to cannibalism through necessity. It's a bit muddy,
Yeah,
isn't
but
it,
again,
that
the
sort
whole
of
slaughterhouse, part of this world never gets focused on until it's chosen to in the remake, the remake universe. These original four, they never worked in a slaughterhouse. They never.
No, it's mentioned. Grandpa did in the first one, in the original.
Grandpa did.
That's why they
Sorry.
have-
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I'm thinking of Sally and Franklin's granddad. Right, also worked in the
Oh, yeah.
slaughterhouse. Yeah. But
But yeah, Grandpa Sawyer.
But then, for the most
was-
part,
he was
it's
the best
not.
one.
He was the best. It's not referenced for the fact that they used the chainsaw to, like you said, to do their business.
Yeah, no, I mean the
No.
only one that used. In that case, they shouldn't be all running around with chainsaws, not just Leatherface. You know,
Yeah, if the Saw's family.
why do they not all have them?
A little pink one for the little girl.
Yeah, exactly, you know, they'd all have their own little bits of flair and decoration and what have you. And
She needs like a baby all gone doll. So instead, you remember Baby All Gone, where you put the spoon in its mouth and the
Yeah.
cherries are gone. It's all
Yeah.
gone. So there's a chainsaw. You put it in, and it comes out red. Oh,
yeah,
baby. No, I'm not gonna. I was gonna get even more extreme then. I digress. Moving on. Again, so we were talking about Benny and Leatherface's scuffle in
Yep.
the lake while he's helped Michelle escape from the Sawyer household, and that chainsaw is just it's doing rotations like a barrier in the lake.
yeah. There's a big stream of water coming out.
Yeah.
Like a jet ski.
And they're trying to build up that suspense of they're tussling back and forth. Who's going to land on the chainsaw?
On the
Who's going?
saw.
And Benny gets it. Benny gets it in the back. Or does he? Because he's fine at the end.
He's fine at the end.
How?
Oh, or maybe looks a bit tired. He's kind of like,
But
a bit weary and a bit worn out. But yeah, not fallen on a chainsaw.
but also, they're clearly in some sort of bayou, swamp, wooded area for the nighttime part of this film, and location-wise, where the Sawyer house is. Right, the beginning of the film and the very end of the film are pretty much in a deserted wasteland area.
Yes.
So they're quite far from each other. Because when you're
Yeah.
we're in said locations, the deserted wasteland area, you're looking across the distance. You can't really see like a wooded
there's
area.
hills in the distance. There's not
There's-
a swamp.
No.
Forest.
So
No.
you're telling me Benny made it from there in a car without bleeding out, but we were shown he landed on the chainsaw, clearly writhing in pain. It's fine. Yeah, the locations they don't make sense.
No, they don't. And something else just about that sort of ending where they pile into... So they pile into the truck and then Alfredo pops up again. And Michelle shoots him. And then...
And she the delayed reaction
Yeah.
from the shot. Yeah.
And then just as a last... And then so they pile, her and Ken pile into the van and off they go. And then Leatherface turns up again as well. And
Yeah, I wrote
if
that.
you are in this like desolate plain environment,
He was behind a
none
rock.
of them saw him walking over. Like, how did he get all the way over without anybody noticing? It's like he's a master of stealth.
We're talking tens of miles of open wasteland here, right?
Yeah.
And where the camera as it's following.
Like, there's not so
Benny-
much as a shrub or a tree. There's
No.
nothing above like knee high in the landscape.
I
A
think
6 foot odd man wielding a chainsaw, just like trundling his way over, would catch your eye. I'm fairly certain would pick up in your peripheral vision.
I got the film here. Where does he? So they drive off, and okay, so dumb. They drive off, and the camera is about hip level, watching them drive off into the mountains, which was about a couple of miles down the road, and then suddenly they are about 100 meters away, I would say, and a man with a leg brace and a long chainsaw just appears.
Yeah.
And like you say, there is nothing for him to have come from behind. It's very hokey. It's very cheesy, this scene, and it's done for reaction, impact. Like, oh, he's still alive. He's still out there.
alive.
But really, just think about it for a minute. How dumb this looks. It is. It's ludicrous. It's absolutely.
It's very
ludicrous.
silly.
Is it? I'm trying to remember now. Is it implied that Leatherface does die and then we get a sudden return of it? No, it's not. No, we get the quote unquote death of Benny in the lake, and then we suddenly cut to sunrise, and Michelle is wandering in the wasteland. It's almost like there's about 10 minutes just completely lost there, from her being in the trap, watching Benny die in the lake, to her strolling around in the wasteland at the end. Yeah. Do you remember the scene as well? So let's go back to the house for a minute. So a lot happens, but doesn't happen in the house. We get a lot of talking back and forth with the family. Ryan strung up upside down as they're about to carve him up for Thanksgiving dinner. We also get Leatherface being told to go do his learning, to go do his homework.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of like trying to get the audience to feel. Is it trying to get us to feel some sort of sympathy for this simpleton? It's very strange. He's got this sort of speak and spell game. Possibly,
and it's also like really telegraphing and shoehorning this sort of mental deficiency, learning difficulty, or whatever you want to call it. It's like it's not really necessary.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I suppose there's a kind of just generally sort of disturbing and macabre image of a huge hulking guy wearing somebody else's skin, playing with a child's toy.
Yeah,
I guess it's just kind of a disturbing scene.
he's not very good at it either.
In that regard. No. Just talking about the house. It's a lot tidier than
It is.
previous other branches of the family. There's a little bit of the usual Sawyer brand of decorating. In sort of Leatherface's little room, there's a few bones and skulls about, but we've got nothing like the level of stuff we've seen in other movies with, you know, entire furniture pieces made out of skeletons and you know, live farmyard animals running around inside, or you know, intensely flooded basements.
But the little girl's room has got bones everywhere because Michelle cuts herself on one.
You're right. She has, and her little doll.
Yeah.
Is, well, quite clearly the skeleton of a child.
Well, so out of all the family, it's Leatherface, the little girl, the Tinker. Are the only ones that survive? Tex doesn't survive, does he? He gets set on fire by Benny.
Yeah.
The mum.
Alfredo gets shot.
I
I don't know what happens to the mother. Grandpa gets shot. I don't know what happens to the mother.
There's an amazing line when Benny is he's having a fight with Tex outside the house. This is just after he's helped Michelle escape and gets into the ruckus with Leatherface in the lake. He's having a fight with Tex outside, and Benny screams out, "Why don't you leave us alone?" And Tex replies with, "We're hungry." I mean, fair enough. Straight to the point. Yeah. I mean,
can't really argue with that.
You feed the family for days out of Ryan's body.
I'm just looking at IMDb now, going through some photographs, and there is a photo of the family all together, minus Alfredo. He's not included in it.
He's never shown with them.
No.
He may not even be a family member.
He might not be. He's his own brand of lunacy going on in the same area.
He's just Alfredo.
Yeah.
That's all he is. You said that picture's on IMDb?
Yeah, just going. I'm just going flicking through the images.
As far as Leatherface goes, it really the look visually, the character really does get weaker and weaker looking.
Yeah,
as the film goes on.
It looks in this. It looks more like a good Halloween costume than a.
Yeah.
But it's a bad like cinema thing, and he also looks remarkably different in that trailer than he does in the movie.
Oh yeah, he does.
Like he's about 20 pounds heavier in the trailer for a start.
I mean, for the most part, though, yeah, he as the character we know, Leatherface, he doesn't look as good as others.
No,
other portrayals we've seen of Leatherface.
It reminds me of somebody, and I can't think who it is. It's like I think it's Ozzy Osbourne. I think it's like 80s
Really?
era. I think it's like 80s era Ozzy.
All right.
He looks a little bit like
All right.
Anthea Turner. No shade on Anthea Turner, but
That may be one of the most in references we've ever made on Anthea Turner.
Anthea Turner.
If you
saw
don't-
his family.
If you don't know who Anthea Turner is, why are you even listening to this podcast? I mean, I don't know about you as well, but with these sort of portrayals, of the portrayal of these sort of families we get in films, I mean, the first one nailed it to a T. They are all out of their fucking mind, and they're dirty. They look horrible. They look dishevelled. Tex, he's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
To me, he doesn't fit a family of cannibalistic freaks in the middle of a wasteland.
I
I would like the trope of them being portrayed a bit more hick-like if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Not to completely stereotype these sort of people.
No, but I suppose that's kind of the point, isn't it? And it is that sort of
Yeah,
like
to give you that twist. Oh, it's him.
that backwards family, and that they are kind of, because they're outsiders, they've had to turn to this sort of rather desperate measure, and then have ultimately started reveling in it and enjoying it. I suppose it depends, because we don't really get the backstory as to why they're cannibals until the remakes, or at least the prequel to the remake.
Well, that's it. We don't get anything with this family. They're just here, and it's like, oh, here's another one. Here's another one.
Yeah.
They're just, for no reason, we've just built the family because we wanted the big family.
Because we wanted a big family, and we needed a sequel. We needed a reason. Yeah, there needs to be a base for the sequel. Because I suppose the only other route you could have done really is just to have like Leatherface surviving, and then Leatherface just becoming a true slasher figure like Jason Voorhees. It's just him on his own.
I think that would have been brilliant. I think you've done the family. I mean, you've now done the family aspect to death. Now this is 3 films in, okay.
Yeah.
And so now at this point we're probably getting done to death, and especially with part 4, we've got another family. I can barely only remember 2 characters from that family.
Well, talking about
there are more.
talking about Vigo being, a handsome chap. I mean, Matthew McConaughey in the new one, and his partner, the real estate lady.
Oh,
that likes
she's
to flash
very
the
attractive.
local teens and stuff. It's like, how is she mixed up with these like murderous cannibals? It makes no sense. And we talked about. I think we've talked about that one before. It's weird that everything is kind of like really urban in that one compared to this one. At least this one still is out in the country, out in the backwoods.
I mean, yeah, she what's that? It's Vilma. Matthew McConaughey's character is Vilma, and her name is Thelma, I think. But she's got like a real estate office or something like that, or
real estate office,
and
she goes to
pizza. Yeah, it's not that far away. Are you aware of the family in America called the Whitakers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Not to put too much shade on them, but that's kind of the family I'm expecting to see in a film like this.
Yeah. Yeah, they're almost a little bit too high functioning. And like you said, or we have said before, the first one has that sort of more documentary feel, and it's like, a bit more worn, a bit more dirty, a bit more lived in. And obviously inspired by the real case of Ed Gein and stuff. And then in these subsequent ones, it is it doesn't give that same sort of lived in impression. It doesn't feel like this. It feels like a movie, I guess is what I'm saying. It feels like it's just, I'm acting like a cannibal. Completely. Whereas you could kind of believe that this is a fly on the wall documentary in the first one, and this is what they're doing. And
the
like I said, the house is a bit more clean and tidy in this one, and
it's huge as well. The intro to this film, where we get short snippets of Leatherface working on his mask and whatnot. What you could have done, which you kind of briefly mentioned earlier, would be like, okay, what happened after the original film? If we're skipping 2, what happened after the original film with Grandpa and Leatherface? Like, is this the same Grandpa? We don't know. You do the intro to this film as snippets, following on from the first film. Leatherface, roughly doing something to help his leg stop bleeding and gushing out. Him escaping with Granddad, trying to get away. They come across this huge farmhouse with a family, a nice, pure American blood family, just doing their hardest to keep the farm alive. Leatherface not kills them all, takes them all out, and they live there. And they live there. But I don't know how you introduce more family members. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just do this film as, like you said, Leatherface being the slasher of this film, being the killer.
I think the introduction of more family members is what makes these less and less believable as time goes on.
Agreed.
I think that's the problem.
Where do you stand on Chop Top being introduced?
I mean, 2 is kind of its own thing.
It is. It is.
Totally. I like Chop Top's character. It's Bill Moseley. He's great. It's from a continuity point of view for the original film. It's stupid.
It is completely.
It's completely ridiculous. Like he's what, another brother that's come back from Vietnam or something. It's just and he's come back from Vietnam and has just gone, oh right, we're cannibals now, great. Or presumably he's gone off to Vietnam having already been a cannibal. It don't make any sense. But that feels like a comedy spoof of the first one in a way. It's because it's got that really heavy black comedy tone to it. It just feels like completely different kettle of fish. Can't really be judged by the same standards.
Can I just say, hey, Caroline Williams, I actually liked that film, okay? Block me on Twitter.
So yeah, I don't think you can judge it by the same standards because I feel like it's too different. Albeit I like it. I like 2. It's good. But
I liked it. It's good fun. But if we're trying to take a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film seriously, that ain't it.
no, that's not,
That's not it.
No.
Let alone this one.
So yeah, like just getting these extra family members out. I suppose if you want to pull extra family members, or keep pulling extra family members out of the bag, is none of these films can be direct sequels. They all have to just start again.
Yeah,
they all have to be standalones.
That's kind of how I try to take them. I see a lot of people. I have tried to find the official timeline, the continuity timeline, and I've seen so many mixed bag reports of what people believe. Work. People believe this is where you start and you go 1 to 2, or you go 1 to 2 to 3, or you go 1 to 3. You skip 2. Like none of them really. You think of it however you want to think of it. Really, this is what I said. The remake mythology is the easiest one to follow.
Yeah,
it really is.
It is. I mean, one and 2 work.
They do because of the cook as well and grandpa.
Because you've got the cook, you've got but although randomly you get grandma being there now, we pull a grandma out of the bag.
Oh, you do.
And they've moved to a abandoned fun fair, which is and they've been or traveling the state, entering chili cook-off contest.
Human chili, yes,
which is weird, but they kind of work. We've got the body of the hitchhikers there, isn't it? And there's more continuity there. That kind of works. But yeah, beyond that, I think you've just got to go, well, it's starting again. Leatherface, it's a different family. Forget the original family. This is the family that has Leatherface.
I mean, you can easily say that for part 4. Part 4. If you want to go, okay, my timeline is 1 and 2. Okay, your timeline over there is 1 to 3. Your timeline is 1 to 4. That is the one that works the least. That does not make a single ounce of sense, that timeline whatsoever. No. So
I mean, it doesn't work. It doesn't make a single ounce of sense in the plot either.
Well, there's that as well. Yeah,
suddenly turning into some sort of Truman Show-esque weirdness at the end.
Man with nipple rings all over his chest. Yeah. So yeah, for the most part, as a film, I don't hate Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. I think that was what I missed when we picked these films. I originally remember this being quite a rough watch. And it's not a rough watch. It's a quick watch. It's under 90 minutes. It's not bad. It's
pretty dumb, but it's not offensive.
Not at all. Not at all.
It's not quite as fun as the second one. It's
not as serious as the first one.
It's not serious as the first one. It's not as insane as the fourth one. It kind of just fills the gap. middle ground. Yeah, like I say, there's bits of it that definitely feel more like an action movie than a horror movie.
I noticed and I'm fine not to get into it. We've barely noted anything about our main two characters, Ryan and Michelle, because there's nothing to them. This is really the most interesting part, and I use that term loosely, is the family in this film.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
There's
that's
nothing
why,
to them.
and that's why people go and see these movies and the sequels to these movies. It's
Yeah.
I mean, going back to our Terrifier conversation, people go and see those sorts of movies for the kills. You go and see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the creepy cannibal family. And it doesn't matter who they're chopping up and eating necessarily, as long as they do some chopping up and eating.
I think I want to do this at the end of our month, if you're able to. I'd like us to do a little ranking at the end.
Okay.
But
of the four that we're covering?
No, of the series.
Oh, okay.
But just for now, does this fit in the top half, would you say, echelon of your ranking, or would you say this is down the bottom?
I'd say this is...
I think for the most part, this is at the top, because...
I think this is going top, going, yeah, higher.
There's more worse films in this franchise than there are good.
I think so. How many do we have total?
I believe there's 7.
4, 7. Yeah, I'd say this is maybe mid-table. Yeah.
8, I believe, actually. Sorry.
8. There's 8. No.
Am I getting it wrong again?
9.
How embarrassing.
There's 9.
How embarrassing.
You're omitting the most recent one, I'm sure.
I should probably throw this all in the bin. Oh my god, yeah, the Netflix one. Holy shit.
There's 9. So yeah, this is certainly closer to the top spot than the bottom spot, I think.
Oh, that film sucks so much. Mm-hmm. That remake.
Don't really shoehorn in another family though, I suppose.
You what?
Well, we've just been talking about how they keep finding these extra family members. They don't do that in the Netflix one.
That's kind of true.
It is just Leatherface on his own as a slasher.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't stop it from being a terrible, terrible film, but
no, I think the thing that
it occurred to me as we were saying it. That is the example of
You're
Leatherface
right.
being a slasher. Is the 2024 Netflix one?
As does Texas Chainsaw 3D.
23.
That doesn't necessarily have the shoehorned in family, but it does have a shoehorned in family member as our main lead.
Yeah.
Do you think, cuz?
Yeah. Which is I don't know. I feel like
awful line.
It is awful. It is awful. I wasn't going to say anything to the contrary. But
pen to paper.
Feel like they were trying to do the Halloween thing there, weren't they?
The one final note I've got this film, because we were a bit everywhere with this, but it's fine, doesn't matter. The film's a bit everywhere. The poster for this film, I like it. I really like it.
Which poster are we looking at? Are we
so we've got it's very dark, and we've got
the red background.
Yeah,
the red backlight rather.
The thing with the red backlight, which shows up part of Leatherface's mask, his head looks incredibly tall. And the face kind of comes across more like looking like the deceased grandpa.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I love it. I love the poster. I think it's great. I don't know if you've got the same one I've got, but in the top left it says, "The most controversial horror film ever is finally here." Why?
I don't know.
You're telling me you're marketing this film as more controversial than the original?
I mean, the terror begins the second it starts. It really doesn't. It
really doesn't.
Talking about hyperbole in horror movie reviews and stuff.
Unbelievable.
We got, people were walking out and throwing up 5 minutes into this. There's some absolute liberties being taken with these strap lines and stuff, isn't there? Yeah. The terror begins. It absolutely doesn't. There's not an ounce of terror in this film at all. It's just not in the least bit disturbing. Yeah. I don't know, the most controversial, the sequel to the most controversial horror film.
The sequel. Yeah, the sequel.
A sequel to the most. I don't know. Yeah, It don't really work, does it? I don't know. I don't love it. I don't love the poster. I think it's because they've got that stupid chainsaw front and center.
What are you talking about? It's amazing. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
I don't know. It's like I've got a problem with chainsaws anyway. Like people like as like horror weapons and video game weapons and stuff. Everybody loves shoehorning a chainsaw in like it's a really good thing, and it's just not. It's terrible. Shut up. So I just find it a little bit daft that they're trying to make this front and center icon like
Yeah.
the saw
is family. Even though it comes in about 2/3 of the way of the film and
he barely uses
it.
Does he even kill somebody with it?
Benny gets implied. Ryan.
That aside,
Ryan is hung up. Oh no, he kills Sarah in the woods a bit.
Oh, okay.
Ryan is hung up in the kitchen, and he uses it on Ryan. But then when we cut back to Ryan, there's like no cuts on him whatsoever. So barely at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't love it, and I think it's also putting him. Ironically, the film's named after him, but putting him front and center, like. All right, his face is kind of in shadow and it's backlit and stuff, but one of the good things, again, we're always going to compare these to the original, but one of the good things about the original is that you don't really get you don't get a good look at Leatherface until like quite a way into the movie.
Yeah.
Until like the dinner table scene and stuff. And even then he's sort of like busy bumbling around and things like that. And there's a lot of like close-ups of his face, and he's like interacting with Michelle in this, and
there's a lot of focus on him.
Yeah, and I think too much. I think you can make a movie about something without it actually being front and center in the camera all the time, if you know what I mean. And I think part of the terror is like knowing it's a skin mask, but not looking at absolutely every freckle on it. You know what I mean? I don't need to look at it too closely. Having him just as a more of a presence rather than a, like seeing him, watching him playing on a speak and spell or.
Yeah. It's just too much. You don't want to show too. You never want to show too much.
Dilutes it a little bit, I think. Yeah. But this isn't the tense horror that the first movie is, and not many of them are, or any of them are.
It's certainly not the tense horror movie that the original is, which we will be covering next time.
Yay.
On the final episode of this month of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre celebratory birthday spectacular extravaganza month of October. Do you have anything else you wanted to add to this illustrious film? I think we pretty much covered most of it.
I think we have covered
everything
there is to cover about that.
You can't remember, the Saw is family. Don't never forget that. The Saw is family. It will forever be family.
I mean, again, it's one of them. If you've not seen it and you feel like you're a bit of a completionist, it's not the worst thing you could watch. It's kind of fun, kind of short. Yeah, it's relatively painless to get through.
Yeah. It's an easy watch.
Yeah,
easy watch. If you want to be fair, it's not. If you wanted to watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, it's not the one. It's not the first. It's probably not the second one I would recommend to watch.
No,
it's
not.
It's a couple down in the line before watching it. But if you want to watch,
again, we've said it before. Yeah, if you're a completionist and you want to watch them all, then go for it.
Oh, gotcha.
If you skip it, you're not missing a huge deal. You know what I mean? It's not the end of the world.
Not missing anything in the mythology or lore of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre world. Anyway, so yes, until next time, we'll be back with. I feel like this is going to be a bit of a longer one. There's plenty to talk about with this absolute gem in the horror world. I'm looking forward to it.
We'll be half an hour of you just showing off all your different versions of it, I'm sure.
Yes. I'm glad you've already accepted that. But it is one of the films I've been hankering to discuss on this illustrious show for so long now. And I think it's about time. What better time? What better time than now? So look forward to that at the end of the month. Till then, go check out you can find out our Leatherface 2017 episode right there. You can find out, in fact, what have we done? The Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake last episode, which is right there. And a few months back, I think maybe earlier on in the year, we checked out Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 4 here. So we've done, and of course we've done the Netflix one, which is right here. So we are only got a few more left to really get them. So they're gonna have to leave it for a bit after this month before we come back to the series, I think. So check us out on Instagram, all the social media, all the social networks, all them social things. They're Dreadcast, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok, and find it all on Spotify, Amazon, Google. Google doesn't exist anymore. YouTube, Samsung, iHeartRadio, anywhere you listen to your podcasts by searching the Dreadcast. And I do believe that is it. Remember, folks, the Saw is family. And until next time,
is family. Bye.
Goodbye.